So today on It's Your Time, I find myself all the way in the southern suburbs with a brand new gem. His name is Francois Rosseau and he's originally from Mitchell's Plain. He's also the head of testing at Stanlib Wealth Management as well as a family man. Hi Francois, how are you?
Okay, I'm good, thank you, Nissa.
I'm very well, thank you. Francois, I think let's start right at the beginning. Okay, maybe not so far, because we're not going to go to when you were 5 years old or maybe you were still potty training. Yeah, no. But maybe just sort of a couple of years after that. You know, as a child growing up, where did you think you would land up in your life?
Okay, so growing up in Mitchelton was really tough. Lots of gang violence, lots of unrest with party protesting and stuff. So, seeing all of this, right, I've never thought that this could be the only thing that life has to offer to me, right? So I found myself in this world of learning and education, and that was basically like kind of my escape as to get out of this sort of system, right? Which is really bad, and it was quite downgrading as well, right? So with the education and going through the schooling systems and understanding that there's a world that's much bigger out there, and it's something that I wanted to explore, right? And it's something that I wanted to dig deep into so that I can kind of get my way out of that current situation. So it's always been about learning, about educating myself, about growing as a person, and kind of growing the people around me as well, right? And taking everyone on this kind of journey to where I am now.
So, what are some of the challenges that you have faced in your life? I think perhaps if you can highlight like one or two really particular moments
Yeah.
that you will never ever forget.
Okay. So firstly, so grew up in Lente here, and there was one particular night where I was busy studying in the living room, and there was gang violence going on outside, and we went to go check it out and see what's happening, and someone was literally being killed like right in front of our house, right? So it's one of those like pivotal moments that made me realize as well, like this is not it. This is not for me. Like I don't want to see this. One day I want to have a family. I don't want my kids to see this either, right? So there was a kind of like a like very like strong point where I've made the decision that I can't live like this.
It's interesting that you're talking about all of these things, and they seem like many different pockets that are perhaps not even interrelatable to
Yeah.
each other, but they actually do merge
Oh, yeah.
together.
Yeah.
And one of the things that merges in each of these is foundation.
Yeah.
Now, how do you, as a young person whose father has passed on, you're seeing the kinds of things you're seeing every day, manage to just be positive or transformative? And like, it's not, I mean, did you have any guidance from anyone? Were there any mentors? And I mean, it can be someone very close to you, someone that maybe didn't even know you.
So my two biggest mentors in life were my parents. So what I've learned from them is that with hard work and dedication, you can actually achieve anything, right? So I mean, my mom worked as a machinist in factories. My dad worked at a scrapyard for once, right? But it's still like they had a dream and a goal to give us the best that they could, right? And they did what needed to be done, right? So they sacrificed a lot, and they worked hard, right? And those are like the core sort of foundational principles that I take through my life. Like have that goal, have that dream, do what it takes to get there, and just work really hard. So I mean, throughout my years of education, studying engineering at UCT, and it's really tough. But like the core was always there, like the dream and working hard to achieve it, to get to that point, really. So.
Sounds like you're quite ambitious.
Look, I am. I mean, once I set my mind to something, I go out and achieve it because, firstly, it's rewarding to myself, and it's empowering as well. Yeah,
So you are also a family man.
I am.
Yeah. So you have a wife and then how many kids?
Two kids, one 7-year-old boy and a 5-year-old girl.
Do you find this ambition that you have, that you actually have passed that on to them as well? Do you see it in them?
I do see it in them, especially with my son. So I mean, he's a boy and he's very inquisitive and he's always asking questions. But he's asking like the right type of questions, like like and it's almost like he's obviously trying to improve himself, but he's also a very sensitive boy, right? So he's always like thinking about other people as well, right? So it's like what he wants to learn is I kind of see that in from myself as well as in terms of like empowering himself and empowering the people around him. And he's only 7 years old, so you know he'll grow into it more, which is one of my dreams for him, to be a very influential person. But I'm really starting to see that in his nature. So
There's something that I want to know a little bit more
sure,
when it comes to you.
yeah.
You have been involved with a couple of community projects. So I want you to tell me a bit more about
Okay,
those.
so the first one I did was with the community foundation program, and it was basically based around photography, right? So I did a little stint of probably like 3 or 4 years of photography, and then I got an opportunity to help underprivileged kids from Lavendale basically express themselves in terms of how they see the Bill of Rights like basically playing out in their communities, right? So you know the right to work, the right to freedom of movement, um, and it was basically like sort of like firstly like educating them about photography and how photography works and kind of what the tool is as a form of expression, right? So there's the technical aspect of it, like how do you actually make that perfect shot or how do you get to that point, but then also about what does this shot mean, like what are you actually trying to say with it, because it's an art form, right? And it's a form of expression, so you're basically telling a story with that photo, and someone might be seeing it this way and someone else might be seeing it this way, but it's still it's your opinion on how you see things, and it's quite powerful, because if I had that opportunity like growing up in Mitchell's Plain, it basically have given me like a different voice as to say like guys, things are not right here, so you know, and it's out in the world for people to see, so people can actually relate to it and see like, wow, this is happening, this is a 15-year-old's view on what they're seeing in the communities, and it's either like this is not right, let's do something about it. So it's again, it's about empowering, you know, so it's about giving people that voice. Not everyone has the ability to just stand up and say this is wrong, but they've got other ways and other means of doing that, so you know, so I mean it was really cool, I really enjoyed that.
So, having these workshops with these children, um, what what was that process like? I mean, there must have been a couple of them that really caught your eye with what they were doing in the class itself. Is there maybe one or two that you can sort of touch on
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
yeah, tell us
So,
more?
so there were two that were, and it was a girl and a boy, right? So the boy was also very soft-spoken, very quiet, right? But again, like he had, I could see he had something to say, right? And that came out in his photos, right? Whereas the other girl she was a bit more outspoken, so I mean, it was a different view on compared to what the boy was saying, but it was still so unique to like her own experience, right? And how she's seeing things. So they were able to express themselves in like from within their cause as to who they are as people, even at that young age, right? And basically express themselves, you know. So it's again it's the concept of introvert versus extrovert, but the actual output of it was like it was really powerful. So yeah.
You know, you've been very privileged in your life, as have I, to be able to still study, have access to education, have access to food,
Yeah.
have access to good people, because that's also a thing. I believe in surrounding yourself with like minded souls and people that add value to your life. My friends always know it's something I harp on all the time. Okay, can only be with people who add value to your life. I turn into that auntie again. But for someone out there that doesn't have that kind of access, life is
That's tough.
tough.
Yeah.
So, what kind of advice do you have for someone who doesn't have that kind of access? Because obviously, you'd want to aspire to get into that position,
Yeah.
but there are a lot of things that can create very big obstacles in your life. What can you say?
So I mean, self-belief is very important. Like knowing that you have something special, and having that goal in mind, and trying to work at it, and trying to get to that point. So obviously, not everyone has the perfect support in terms of family, or has a plate of food to eat at the end of the night or at the end of the day. Um, but still, like once you have that dream, right? There's lots of things that you can do to get to that point, right? So you can start speaking to people about it. You know, you can start speaking to your teachers at school. I went to school in Mitchell's Plain, not the best schools around, but strong teachers. You know, like people that you can actually go and say, like, look, I want to do something. Can you help me? Like asking for help is a very important thing, right? Because it's gonna help you get to that point, right? Um, so basically, like if you believe in yourself, you believe in your dream, you believe in what you want to achieve, make those necessary steps. Meet with the right people. Try if you can't, like just speak up about it. You know, like go out and put yourself out there so that you can actually get the help that you need. You know, so but again, it boils down to that self belief because that's the main thing that's going to carry you over the line. Like, you know, understanding what you want, understanding what you don't want as well, right? Because that's also important. And then working towards that goal. So, self belief, absolutely important.
Very true. Something my husband always says is that no matter what your circumstance is, because we all come from that kind of background where
Yeah.
it was struggle years or, even post struggle years, we're still struggling and trying to move forward, that you still have a choice.
You still have a choice.
You can choose to take your life down the path of negativity, and
Yeah.
you can choose to try and empower yourself to achieve something greater. But
Exactly.
that is your choice. So that self-belief you're saying, so important. Very, very
Yeah.
true. Francois, thank you so much for joining me on the show. I just love that you're the kind of individual that is so ambitious, that's so determined, and that just takes from everything, translates it into what he
Yeah.
does, and empowers himself to just keep on moving forward. Very inspirational.
Thank you, Kia, to allow me this opportunity to tell my story. And I'm hoping that it can inspire someone else, right? Because we all have journeys, we all have like tough times to go through, but we all have goals, right? And um, especially for people from sort of our communities and where we come from, it's so important because not only does it empower us, but it empowers people around us as well. So thank you for the opportunity.
It's only a pleasure. Thank you for being so inspiring.